to round 4 of the World Formula One Championship tonight, coming to you from the Silverstone Circuit in England. AJ, I know you've just been over there. Nice to have you back in the country. I guess we've got to say hello and happy Easter to everybody right around Australia. And I was at the Royal North Shore Hospital today, and we forget about the people around Australia in hospitals. And to the spinal ward there today, Craig Jout and all of the company there, he's been looked after by some great nurses. But we forget about people in hospital at a time like this, don't we?
Well, hopefully they're going to have a good Grand Prix to look at tonight.
I think they will. All right, let's have a look at the qualifying package, because when you see the grid, wow, there are a few surprises. Timmy Gilbert put this together for us.
A wet old week at Silverstone in the lead up to tonight's UK Grand Prix, so it was quite amazing that qualifying took place in the only dry hour of the day, and the red of Ferrari was dominant again. The only difference this week, it was Rubens Barrichello and not Michael Schumacher leading the pack. Still looking for his first race victory, the Brazilian was too quick for them all to take pole.
I'm particularly proud because I think, you know, last week I've tested just on the only 2 days in the wet, so I had no experience with this car on the dry apart from the 2 laps that I had yesterday. But the team did a good job to give me a good car, and this track I know very well, so you know, I had no traffic and I pushed to the very, very limit, which was good enough.
Next to Rubens on the front row of the grid, another surprise, Heinz Harald Frentzen in the ever-improving Jordan. On the second row of the 2 McLarens, world champion Mika Häkkinen just faster than David Coulthard. If Michael Schumacher is to win again, he's going to have to come from 5th position tonight. While the British fans were on the edge of their seats as young Williams star Jenson Button impressed everyone to be 6th fastest.
Well, there you have it. Barrichello, his first pole position for Ferrari. Alongside him, Frentzen. Häkkinen is in the second row alongside his teammate David Coulthard. Michael Schumacher, championship leader at the moment, down in 5th. Schumacher, Ralph in 7th, Verstappen, Irvine, Villeneuve, Trulli, Fisichella, Deniz, Herbert, Alesi, Zonta, Heidfeld and Mika Salo back in last place almost. De La Rosa, Wirtz, Genet and Mazzacani in the Minardi.
Obviously the weathers have a fairly big bearing on the grid there, but by gee, that's going to make for an interesting 5 or 10 laps.
It is. I mean, during qualifying, Daz, I think there was something like 15 individual pole setters. A guy would get pole and someone would knock him off, and it went on 15 times. It's one of those typical situations where you have to be at the right place at the right time, enough warmth in your tyres to get the job done. And obviously all the guys that are on the front 2 or 3 rows, I believe, established their times in the dying seconds of practice. But what a great effort from Jenson Button to get up there and get into 6th position in front of his home crowd.
Actually, the police was on radio this morning, commercial radio, telling people not to go to the Grand Prix. The traffic jam, 30 kilometres long.
Yeah, 18 miles. And when I was over there, I think last Thursday, they were saying they stopped selling tickets because the paddocks that they usually use to park the overflow car parks were that flooded and that muddy that they just weren't going to sell any more tickets.
Now, you've just been to an anniversary ball in England with all of the past champions. We'll talk about that at the end of the race, because there's quite a bit of interest around at the moment. And a dear friend of this station, almost part of the family here, Jackie Stewart, well, of course, his son is the Chief Operating Officer, Paul. He's undergoing treatment for cancer at the moment at an American hospital. And Father Jackie announced the news last week, adding that he felt the illness is treatable. And our thoughts, of course, go out to Jackie and the whole family. But you were with Jackie through the week. And
Paul, the dude that I went to on Wednesday night, Paul was there. Apart from a bit of a shaven head, he looks brand new. He's very positive. And he's determined to get on top of it, and I think he will. He's a very determined young man.
So he stood down at the moment from his duties at Ford, and they'll look at that as the treatment goes. Now, this traditional day for the race, of course, has been moved from April back to July, or from July back, sparking a lot of controversy. The weather, what was the reason for the move? I mean, what was the feeling over there?
Well, I don't think they're too happy, because it is a really dicey part of the year. Although traditionally coming on to Easter in England, you can have some beautiful weather, but it's too dicey, and they're saying, well, in July, 9 times out of 10, it is good, so why take it to April when there is a 50% chance of it being ugly? Mind you, I was over there a couple of years ago in July as well, and it was freezing cold and raining, but that's good old England for you.
Now, a lot of Australians are doing so well overseas. Mark Webber has won the second round of the Formula 3000 Championship at Silverstone overnight. Now, Webber leads the championship after a brilliant drive in the wet, finishing less than 1 second ahead of the British driver Darren Manning. Good luck also to James Courtney, who will contest round 2 of the British Formula 4 Championship. That's being held at Donington Park tomorrow. Courtney won the first round at Brands Hatch 2 weeks ago, and we'll bring you more as we get that to news. And of course, the Tasmanian Marcus Ambrose has made his international Formula debut at Nogaro in France this weekend. Jason Bright finished second to Kiwi Scott Dixon in the opening round of the Indy Light Series at Long Beach in California just a week ago. So, gee, the Australians, everybody's talking about them.
Well, they are, and Alex Davison's having his first drive in a Porsche this weekend. It's a Porsche Australia car, which is operated by, like it's a factory outlet. So Alex is having his first overseas factory Porsche drive this weekend as well. All
right, fingers crossed. Maybe an Australian in Formula 1 or the kart series not too far away. We'll take a break, come back shortly. They're just about on the grid. Welcome back. As you can see, the cars moving away now for the parade lap. I noticed there on Barrichello's car that the car had a white wing on it, so maybe at long last Ferrari, there you can see the white wing there, may have changed the colour scheme, because I know I've had a couple of viewers that have written letters saying it's very difficult with the two Ferraris and the helmet colours similar from a distance to be able to pick them.
Oh, for sure, and probably for the crew as well, because when you've got a Formula 1 car coming up towards you at 180, 190 mile an hour, you need to have something on it to be able to tell the difference.
Now, the McLarens have had trouble. I know Mika Hakkinen has got the training car all set up and ready, but they've had similar problems they suffered in Australia. That could be pretty costly because they haven't been reliable, and they wouldn't want to be going to this race with that sort of record over their head.
They haven't changed the engine. They seem to think that it will last and that they're confident, but I mean, you know, there's no smoke without fire. They've had a little bit of problems with it over the weekend, so I mean, I don't believe they've done anything substantial to change anything, so I don't know why they're saying they're confident and they haven't changed the engine. Most of the guys are on medium compound tyres, with the exception, I believe, of one of the Minardis and Villeneuve. They've gone for a softer compound.
Villeneuve at one stage, with 4 minutes to go in qualifying, was actually on pole and got knocked back all of those spots back to 10th in that last 4 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's very important to be out there, continually getting warmth in your tyres. A lot of people have pulled in the past, you know, with 3 or 4 minutes to go, thinking, oh, that's the best I can do. But if you keep the car out there, you're generating more and more heat into the tyres, which is generating more grip. And invariably your quickest laps are towards the very end, and that's what happened at the end of the practice there yesterday.
As you can see, the conditions now are dry, but it's overcast. There is a chance it could rain, so this race is going to be more than interesting, particularly with the line-up on the grid. Now, we'll talk about your trip to England at the end of the race, because there's a lot of information there. And also, Martin Brundle's come out with a very interesting concept about people going back, driving cars with manual gearboxes and trying to get rid of the driver's aids that are there that they know about and some they don't know about.
I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're being paid $20 million to race a car, let's see your skill. Let's see you're working for your living. Not that these guys aren't doing that. I mean, at the end of the day, they're still going around 150 mile an hour corner and 150. And the ones that take it 151 fly off, and the ones that take it 149 don't get the 20 mil. But that's what it's all about.
Well, Barrichello sitting on pole. What a moment for him. All right, there's the forecast for you. Clearing maximum of only 10 degrees. As they start to make their way around the back part of the circuit to finish the grid, we'll cross now to Murray Walker and Martin Brundle.
Front wheel is their marker, because you're sitting quite deep into the cockpit. You can't really see too clearly, very near to the car. So that yellow line outside there of Coulthard's car is to let him know where to park his front wheel. So the sensors underneath his seat are in line with the sensors in the racetrack, the lights.
And when the fifth one goes out, Silverstone will be go! Barrichello leads away well. Frenson second, and Schumacher sprinting up alongside the two McLarens. But Jenson Button is right behind him. And so it is Barrichello, it is Frenson, it is the two McLarens.
Yes, but Michael got squeezed out. Hakkinen put the squeeze on Michael Schumacher, and he actually then dropped back some places. I think Coulthard's the leader of the two McLarens in third and fourth.